one thing is to create the course and have proof that it's working. Another very different thing is to actually sell the course, because just like with artwork, like the fact that we paint beautiful paintings and have a website doesn't mean that people flock to your website to buy the paintings.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the newest episode of Creatives on Camera. If you're an entrepreneur teaching, designing patterns, or running a shop and feeling like video is just too complicated or time-consuming, you're in the right place. This podcast is your guide to creating video content that connects authentically with your audience, builds your business, and expands your reach without the stress of a huge production or expensive equipment. We make it simple, effective, doable. I'm Lyric Montgomery Kennard, an artist, educator, and host of the show. Join me as we explore practical tips and strategies to help you confidently share your creativity online. Let's get started. Hello, friends. Welcome to Creatives on Camera. Today we have with us Marcela Strasdas, and she is a painter, a teacher online, a beautiful soul, and I can't wait for you to meet her as we talk about her online teaching business and her whole journey. Marcela, I am so grateful that you are here with us today. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you became an artist and then why you decided to teach.
Thank you so much, Lyric, for having me here, for inviting me. It is truly an honor to be here with you and your guests. My name is Marcela Strasdas, and I am originally from Argentina. I live in Canada now, and I became a painter about 24 years ago, I think. But I originally went to university to be an ESL teacher. And translator, and later on moved to Canada. And I always knew that I was going to be painting or creating one day because I kind of wanted to try that. But I started sooner than I expected. I thought that I was going to do it when I retired, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But then as the kids were born and I wanted to have some time to myself, the opportunity came that I started painting, and I just haven't stopped. I started to, it all started as a way for me to have time for myself. And then it just went from there, and it grew. And here I am today, 24 years later, and I am teaching now. And going into that aspect, I just painted for a long time. I wanted to get my skills built, and I believe that I wanted to just get myself to the point where I consider myself at a certain level. And then I was always sharing with people, and people were always getting excited, and people would come back and say, oh, I talked with you and I went home and I started painting. And it seems that the teaching part of me and the nurturing part is very innate. And I had the teaching background from when I was teaching ESL. So then I have just gone into the online teaching mainly, just probably about 2 years ago.
All right. So this journey sounds so familiar, right? I started my art form right after I had babies, and same. I just needed some sanity, something that I could do that stayed done and that was mine, that I could see in the real world. Because, moms, little kids, everything else we do gets destroyed as soon as we do it. Right. And you don't see tangible results from raising kids for years and years.
Yeah. And it was also the mental space that I needed
Exactly.
at the time, to just be myself, because when the kids were born, I became a stay-at-home mom. My husband and I decided that I would stay at home and raise the kids. So then I kind of disappeared, as a person. And this was just going back, or starting actually, to bring out the creativity side that I had not really nurtured before. So yeah, definitely it was that mental space that was so good for my soul. It was the only time I joined a club, a painting club, and it was the only time that we got a babysitter. And we would get a babysitter every Monday afternoon, and I would go to that club and just paint and forget about the world. Not that it was a bad thing and I needed to be forgetting any bad things. It was just
Right.
my time.
Right. This is exactly my story too. And that's one of the reasons why we want to share this. We see the joy and the peace and the accomplishment that comes from being able to create, be able to do something tangible with your hands, to bring something beautiful that other people can see as beautiful, right? And I'm sure all of the mothers out there can relate to the feeling of you give up everything else for keeping these tiny things alive, right? And it's good. It's good, but my art form literally saved my sanity. I had a lot of trouble, and it was a beautiful, finding myself and finding the soul, and then turning around and being able to teach it helps share that with others. So how did you start? Where did you first start teaching? How did in-person classes first start?
So I was doing some demos. I started to get invited by local groups to do demos and painting demonstrations, and they worked out. Everybody was excited. Everybody was happy, and I knew that I wanted to do something. So, and I knew that I wanted to do something online because I didn't want to be tied down to being taken with teaching every Wednesday afternoon, for example, right? I wanted to have a little bit of the freedom to do it from anywhere I wanted, as well as, not having to be physically in one place. Being from Argentina, I spend some time in Argentina every year with my mom and my family. So the fact that I can do it from there is just such a bonus. And then going back to your question, I did first a live component of, I said, okay, this is what I want to teach. And I am primarily an oils painter now. So I said, okay, I want to teach a course on how to get started with oils, because to me, when I switched over to oils from other media, I was so confused, and it was super frustrating to learn the materials, to see and understand how the process goes and how everything behaves. So I said, I am going to create the kind of course that I wish I had had back then, because I was asking many different fantastic artists and I was always getting different opinions. Oh, no, you start like this, you start like that. So that is what I did. I set out to create the course that I wish I had had when I was starting with oils. I did first an in-person version. Mm-hmm. And it was very small. And I just had people here in my backyard. And we did a 4 weeks course in which that allowed me to test the content, right? And to test that that I was on the right track.
Right. That is so important. If you haven't taught before, even though you've built this amazing skill, if you haven't taught before, it's a different skill than doing the thing, and you were trained. I've taught and spent a long time really learning how best to teach, how to convey information, how to organize curriculum, how to do all that. But testing it out with real people in real time so you can get feedback, because they'll come up with things that you hadn't thought of. Right. It's really, really important to, beta test and get feedback from a small group of students. That's very, very good. Did you teach in person for a while before you decided to move online, or were those pretty close together? You decided to teach and then almost immediately.
I knew that I wanted to take that course online. So that was
excellent.
just my tester, right? Something that I didn't mention is that for many, many, many years, I was involved in organizing classes and workshops, with one in my own business and then another time in for a local, it's called the Federation of Canadian Artists. And for my local chapter, I was in charge of hiring and organizing the whole workshop. So throughout my art career, I have attended hundreds of courses
Which
and
is the best way to
workshops
learn.
and classes. And yeah, that's, I never went to art school, right? And that's the way I made my own art school, I always say, because I handpicked who I wanted to learn from. And I was exposed to many different ways of teaching, to many, many different exercises and many different approaches, many different media. So even though I hadn't had all the experience of teaching in person, I was equipped already with a lot of experience in attending those classes and doing it from an organizer point of view too, right?
Right. And I've done the same thing. I come from the quilting world, and before I started teaching, I volunteered as program chair. So finding and hiring and organizing the whole thing from the outside. But then I knew I wanted to teach before I started teaching. So I attended courses, and I would just be sitting there with a notebook, not even doing the project everybody else is doing, because I want to see how they teach. And it's interesting because you learn a lot about how you don't want to teach from some teachers.
You see what works and what doesn't work, right?
And you also see things that really, really work well. I mean, and I took courses, workshops with all kinds of really, really well-known people in my medium. And it was exactly that. Some of them taught me so much, and you can learn so much from, again, the things that you don't want to do, as well as the things that work really well. Classroom management, how to organize your billing, how to present your whatever it is you're doing, technology, just all of those things. There's so much to learn.
Everything from like how not to start a class, I remember this one course. It was a very small group of people, and the instructor, probably she was just very shy and self-conscious herself, but she started just chit-chatting with a couple of people at the front, and then she just started teaching, like no introductions, no like, hey, let's have a round and see who we are, nothing. And it felt very disconnected. So
there was a lack of community building there. That's
right. So then there's all of those things that you go, oh, okay, no, I don't want to do that, right? Okay, I want to be that kind of teacher, right? So you do learn a lot just from, I learned a lot through all of those years.
Right. And then moving that to online is a whole additional set of skills, not just the technology, but it's a completely different kind of communication through a screen than when you're there and you can see the entire body language. And you know, it's how did you learn that? Let's talk about teaching online. Maybe you've thought about it, but it feels overwhelming. You're worried about being on camera, not having the right tech, or figuring out how to translate hands-on workshops to a virtual setting. I've been there, but here's the truth. You don't need to be a tech genius or have a big audience to make online teaching work. That's why I'm inviting you to my free Virtual Teaching 101 webinar. I'll show you how to take what you're already doing and turn it into online classes that reach students globally, all with minimal equipment and simple steps. When I made the switch, my income per teaching hour jumped by 7 times compared to in-person workshops. And I'll show you exactly how it can work for you too. Spots are limited, so don't wait. Sign up now at academyforvirtualteaching.com and let's get you started on this incredible journey. I'll see you there.
So I just jumped in.
Trial by fire.
Well, the pandemic actually was very instrumental in this, right? Because we all got very comfortable with Zoom. During the pandemic, at certain points, I was hosting, let's just paint together little afternoons.
Open work sessions.
Yeah, where I was not teaching. I was not teaching yet officially at the time, but then I was facilitating this, right? So the pandemic was actually very, instrumental in getting us to move to the online world, right? And then I also got, I started working with a company, a Canadian company. They're called Mastrius. And they are a company that has mentors and has people that want to work and learn from these mentors. And they also have a facilitator. So I was a facilitator. So then you have the mentor, and then you have the group, and then there's the in-between person that is this navigator. And I was a navigator for Masters for a couple of years. And again, that gave me a lot of the tools to the Zoom tools, and this is the way we can do it online. And that was very good. They invited me later on to be a mentor myself. And again, that was another step, for me to grow into. And it was a lot of fun. And I just started, right? Going back to the digital, I purchased a course by our mutual mentor, James Wedmore. And I knew that I wanted to have a digital component, and I followed a lot of his teachings and mentoring, right? Especially for all the marketing part and how to put a course together. I had it all on sticky notes. I said, after I had the 4 weeks in-person class, I said, okay, let's put it together now as an online curriculum. So I started putting everything in sticky notes. I knew that so then these were going to be the different modules, right? Which were the 4 different weeks that I had done on in-person. Right. Then I added an introduction, and then I added a finishing. So then I ended up with 7 modules in the first course that I created. And each topic and each sticky note then for me became, this is going to be a video. This is going to be a video. And that is how I started creating the whole content. And then as I was doing, it's like, okay, done. Move it over here to the other side. And that worked really well.
Visual people and those walls of sticky notes, and mine are color coded and you can move them around. And
I don't remember if I color coded them.
Yeah, well, that just helps me with my ADD to be able to see it visually mapping at a glance. But, I love people who can do everything on a spreadsheet or a document, and I need it big and visual out on the wall.
I get lost quite easily inside spreadsheets sometimes, although I have quite a few of them around too. The whole how to do it part was very overwhelming at first, to think of the enormity of, okay, I have to record these things. I don't even know how to. It's like, well, you just start trying, right? And the first ones don't work. The first video, I think I made like 55 million takes.
Of course.
And then it got easier and easier and easier. And I'm not an expert by any means, but now I can just jump on the video and talk. And I have told my students that we're not here to have a perfectly created video. We're just hanging out in the studio here. We're painting together, and that's the approach that I want to give. And I just start talking. And if I make mistakes, well, I have learned to be kind to myself. And it's like, it's okay. Yeah, I get to the editing part of a video now, and I notice that, oh, my hair was like that for the whole time. And it's like, in an olden time, I would have probably re-recorded the whole thing, because it has to be perfect. And now I have let go of that. And it has been quite liberating, actually.
It is, because your students are not there to look at your hair. and we need to realize that too, right?
Yeah, and I prefer to spend my time not creating that perfect video, but painting and growing myself and staying excited and engaged in my own practice, because that is something else that I want. I want to keep my own painting practice, which is it feeds my soul. So I want to, and I also teach from my own experiences, right? I teach them what has worked for me. And if all of a sudden I'm not painting anymore, I feel that I cannot be sharing that with my students anymore.
Right. Good.
Yeah.
So the first course that you started working on was entirely pre-recorded. Is it an on-demand course that now lives on a platform somewhere and that people can sign up for anytime?
Yes. Yes, I created that first course. It is self-standing, and I do have a Facebook group for it. But other than that, it doesn't need any more work on my part, right? Touching base with the students. I do like to have a first initial visit with my students. So I invite them to book a one-on-one with me. And I actually have had people sign up for the course because they say, nobody else offers that one-on-one personal touch. And that's why I signed up.
And you're charging enough that it's worth doing, it's worth giving up that time with people that come in?
I guess so. I think so.
It's not feeling terrible yet?
No.
If it feels okay, then it's enough, right?
Well, fortunately and unfortunately, I haven't had millions of students. Like, I wanted to chat about overnight success. No, nothing has been an overnight success for me. To me, it has been all about proving my idea, proving that what I have has value, and then learning how to put it out, right? So at the moment, I have been building my machine. I have been building all the mechanisms that I need to have in place to be able to sell these on a consistent basis. I have had more than 100 people, purchase a course. So I am very happy and pleased.
Yeah, that's proof of offer. I mean, there is something there that people want. So when you talk about the machine for our audience, that is the marketing mechanism. That is the system that helps you get your offer, what you're teaching, out in front of the people who need it. And, that's sometimes the hardest part of what we're doing is finding our people and, bringing them in, because there's so many parts of that have to work in order for them to say, oh, yes, you're my person, right?
That's right. Yes. So one thing is to create the course and have proof that it's working. Another very different thing is to actually sell the course, because just like with artwork, the fact that we paint beautiful paintings and have a website doesn't mean that people flock to your website to buy the paintings, right? And it's exactly the same thing with the courses, I have found.
Right now, those people that have purchased your course, where do you think they found you?
So nowadays, I am running a webinar. I'm running an automated webinar, which is a masterclass where I show people my process and I do a painting in front of them. And I just show them the whole process. So this is through ads mainly that people are coming to my masterclass.
Okay. So it's paid ads to a free video that shows your process, and then free class, right? But it's a pre-recorded video that is the class, right? And then within that class, and because they have to give you their contact information in order to access the class, then the messaging pulls them into your paid course, right?
Correct. At the end of the masterclass, I offer the course. And of course, I have a special offer for them inside there because they have watched the masterclass. And then I follow up with a series of emails. And that's how it's working at the moment. So I did that. And then after I knew that I wanted to have a membership afterwards. So I had the course and it was, okay, it's running, it's working, people are happy, it's all well. So then I wanted to give the people that do the course and finish the course the follow-up, system so that they can keep on deepening their skills and keep having the support and just keep growing as artists.
And the community.
And the community, exactly. So I already knew that I wanted to do a membership too. So I decided to start a membership. And in this membership, we have a monthly class. Or a monthly focus, a monthly learning. So sometimes it's one video, sometimes it's a series of videos, sometimes it's live or recorded if I am traveling, because again, having that flexibility was so big for me. And then we have also a monthly community call where we answer questions, we do painting reviews, just talk about anything that is happening in our art world. And that's the community part that is so, so, so important.
Tell me how these are presented to people. Actually, the question I'm asking is what platforms are you using in order to deliver the course and the membership?
Yeah, at the moment I'm using Kajabi, which is a very substantial platform. And that's what I'm using at the moment for both the masterclass, for the Get Started with Oils course, and for the membership. And I also use Facebook groups. I have 2 Facebook groups for each of the 2 things. And I know that there are people that don't like Facebook and are not on Facebook, and I could start offering the community somewhere else. But being in other platforms hasn't worked for me. When I am in groups, right, I just don't go to those because it's so much easier for me to stay in Facebook. So that's what I have decided to do. And so far, it hasn't been a huge deterrent.
Good.
Yeah.
And then when you have your lives, you're just on Zoom together?
Zoom. Yeah. Just Zoom, simple, and it's just Zoom meetings. I haven't I haven't bought any of the extra Zoom things. Even when I was running live webinars, running the live masterclass, I would run them through Zoom, and just through Zoom meeting, you have the capability of turning that into a focus mode, so that then the viewers are only seeing you and what you're presenting instead of seeing all the screens. So it's got its drawbacks to do it like that because you don't have a lot of data and information that you may need later on. But it was the easy way for me to get started, right? And that is so important for me. Like I said before, it was overwhelming to think of everything that needs to happen for me to create the course, from creating the videos, deciding what to teach, editing the videos, putting them on a platform, communicating, emails. It was when I saw everything like that, it It was just a bit too much. And it took me a few years, actually, to get started. Once I got going, though, I was tackling everything as, okay, what is the simplest way for me to put this out there? I can make it better later. And also, I'm not going to think about everything that I have to learn right now, because if I think of that, I get overwhelmed and I don't do anything. So for me, it was like, okay, right, today I am going to create the curriculum. And it was, okay, that step is done. Okay, next time I'm going to start videoing. Okay, you need to learn about videoing. And at that point in time, I would start researching about that. I was not researching or thinking of editing then, because again, I would not have done it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You do. You knew where you wanted to go, right?
Yes.
So you knew the finished, this is what I want to, I have a really good idea of what I want to offer. And then you looked back and just looked at the very first step in that direction. You don't have to do everything, right? You climb a mountain one by lifting your foot and putting it in front of the other one. And that's a very small part of the distance, but that is what gets you there.
Well, and it's just taking action. And that's what I teach my students too, right? It's like, if I think about having the perfect painting, well, I'm not even going to pick up the brush, right? But if I start, okay, today I will paint like this and it will suck. The next time it will paint like that and it won't be that good. And then the next time, and it's all about building those skills. In this case, I approached it the same way. It's all about taking that constant action, like all the time and not quitting and breaking it down into very small parts, so that it seems doable to my brain.
Right. And that's exact. Everything you've said today is just like, yeah, ditto. That's exactly what, when I'm working with other teachers in the academy, there is so much to learn to offer online classes, but all it really takes is learning one thing at a time and one small thing time and keeping it simple. So tell us what your tech setup is right now when you're filming. What do you use?
So I'm using my phone. I'm using my iPhone. I'm using my iPhone and my iPad. I bought several of the brackets.
Something to hold the phone.
Something to hold the phone. So I think I have 3 or 4 of those, right? So I will have one on me. I will have another one pointing down to the palette, and I will have another one pointing up, because I don't paint flat. I paint with the painting on the easel. So then I need to have something pointing over there. And just an iPhone and my iPad. Those are the 2 things. And I do have a beautiful camera, but
it's too complicated.
Well, and I'm finding that the quality that I'm getting from this is just good enough for me at the moment. And it has been good enough for like hundreds of students.
That's absolutely true. Unless you're already well familiar with high-end equipment, your iPhone or any smartphone that is relatively recent, you can video in 4K. Yes. But honestly, that's too much to be able to upload to most course platforms, right?
Yes, actually, you have to be making them smaller. It's just I bought as I was telling you earlier, I bought a microphone, but I haven't been able to connect it successfully. So I am not even using a microphone.
You haven't needed it yet, right? Nobody's complained, right?
Nobody has come back to me saying, I can't hear you. Something that I had to get over, though, when I started recording and editing the videos was my own accent. I was an ESL teacher. Spanish is my first language. I have lived in North America, in Canada, for 32 years now. And I didn't know. I was an ESL teacher, translator. I did not know that I had an accent. And then I heard my videos. And I went to my family and I told them, you didn't tell me that my accent was so strong.
And they're
And
like, why would we?
at
Doesn't
first,
matter.
at first, it was really hard to hear myself, and it was just another hurdle, to and now it has become like, well, okay, whatever. Yes, I have an accent.
So how did you get away from that worry about having an accent? How did you move past that?
I guess I just had to hear myself enough that
You
it
just
got
do the thing.
I
You
just did
just
it.
keep
I just did it. It bothered
practicing.
me, in the same way that the first time that we put our art on social media, we are like sweating and so stressed, and our heart is going faster because it's like, oh, what if they don't like it? And all
Mhm.
of that happens. And then after you do it enough times, it gets normalized, right? It loses that power. And I guess that by editing all the videos, because I edited them myself, because I didn't know what I wanted my final product to look like. I didn't know what it was going to look like. So it was important for me to edit it myself. I couldn't tell an editor, a video editor, what I needed. And I'm still struggling with that a little bit. Well, not a little bit, a lot, because I edit all the videos now. But for the membership, because I want them to be natural. And if the brush falls to the ground, so be it. I pick it up. And if I trip over my words, well, that's me.
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
yeah,
They don't need polish and perfection because, again, they're not here for us. We've made the connection with them, but they're here to learn something that will make them happy.
and I hope.
And it's not us, right? It's the thing we're teaching them. So as long as we can show that and people like real better than they like polish.
Exactly. And I hope that all that is doing is just getting people to connect, right? And go, okay, if she can do it, then so can I.
Exactly.
Because, yeah, nobody wants to copy perfect.
No, it's unattainable. It's
Yeah.
unachievable. Being real, I think, actually gives you a better connection with your students. As long as, and I'm always a fan of releasing immediately the minimum viable product. Just get it out there as fast as you can, because you can always improve and you will always improve. But as long as people can see and learn what you're teaching from what you're doing on screen, that's it. That's
Yeah.
good enough.
Yeah. 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 You were asking me about my tech. Part of the tech is lights. I bought some lights so that I could control the light a little bit better. Just the brackets, Zoom, my laptop. I purchased an editing software. And again, it was agonizing to pick what editing software to use. And that
What did you
is,
land on?
I landed on something called Filmora. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, a friend from New Zealand who is also in the fabric world, she was using that, and I gave it a try, and it's like, okay, here it is. So I'm using that one. It's very, very comprehensive. It was not very expensive. It was $99, I think, and I'm using it, and that's what's working at the moment.
Right. There is no one right
No.
answer for what platform to use, what editing equipment, what camera, except for the best camera is the one that is with you so you can do the thing, right? The one that makes it easy for you. So that is the right answer, but there's no specific, only this kind. But keeping it easy, and again, just don't waste your time agonizing. If you already use a platform or a program, just use it. Keep using it.
Yes.
It's rarely worth starting the learning curve again.
Yeah, and totally not worth it. Yeah, totally not worth it.
Unless the thing you have doesn't work at all anymore for you.
Yeah, and ask a couple of people that you trust. Maybe ask a couple of people that you like the kind of work that they're putting out, and say, okay, what are you using? Is it complicated? Is it expensive? But don't start asking too many people, because then you're going to have way too many options. And I think that when I have too many options like that, I get paralyzed and I don't act. And taking action is huge for me. Lots of times, all I have to do is just take that first step. And I will be agonizing over what software to use. And then as soon as I decide, it's like,
Then you
okay.
can just go.
And then it's like, okay, I can do it, right? And again, it just go back to, okay, I am doing this step, I will learn this step, and then I will learn the next one. I'm not now thinking about the other million of things I have to learn or do before it's ready, the course is ready. I am just concentrating on these today.
Absolutely. And I love that. That feels like the main point of what we've been talking about with you. Your main thing is just take a step, just do a thing and constantly learn. Don't get overwhelmed with the whole journey ahead of you. Just take the first step, because that gets you there. One thing at a time. And don't stop. Right?
Because that is actually when it doesn't work.
100% of entrepreneurs who quit fail their business.
Yeah,
Those
exactly.
businesses don't succeed.
That's a pretty staggering and true statistics, right?
Right. So, keep going. What keeps you going? What brings you joy in this? What do you hope for?
So there's two things. One of them is my own painting practice, right? When I'm not painting, I get antsy and unhappy. And the minute I grab the brush, put on some music and start painting, it's like, oh, yes, this is the life, right? And then when I see my students, when I see their eyes and excitement, not necessarily for producing good, perfect paintings. We have already talked about perfection. But when I see that they're excited about learning, about committing to themselves to, yes, I want to try this, and understanding that it's not an overnight thing. Unfortunately, painting is not a microwave situation that we start and all of a sudden, oh, it's done. And it's such a process of stacking skills one on top of the other.
You have to just keep doing the thing if you want to get better at doing a thing, anything.
Exactly. So when I see them committed to learning, and when I see them going like, oh, I'm doing it, oh, that just gives me so much joy. And it just like yesterday, I had the community call with the membership and with the studio circle, that's what it's called. And just seeing them so happy, supporting each other, doing the work, having failures and going like, oh my gosh, I've only been doing this for 2-3 months, but I'm already seeing progress because of the consistent action. That is like, okay, I am on purpose. And that's the way I want to live, right? I want to share the passion that I have for painting and get everybody else to be just as excited.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of everything we do. Marcela, it has been absolutely lovely to spend this time with you, and the encouragement and the wisdom that you've shared is beautiful. So people can hear and see your spirit and the joy that you have in the art form that you do. I like to ask one thing of people before we go. What is, and it can be any off-the-wall answer. What is the last thing that you made?
The last thing I made is this.
Oh, she's pulling up a painting.
Yeah, this is the last thing I made. I went plein air painting, and this is what I did. Plein
It's
air.
a beautiful landscape of a floral garden. It's got a bird bath in the front for all of you who are only listening. It's a beautiful, colorful, lovely painting.
Yes, I go plein air painting with a group of artists, and I every Monday or thereabouts, and we go to anywhere here in the city, right? And I live in a city that has absolutely stunning landscapes. I live on an island, Vancouver Island, and it's a city of gardens. So there are gardens everywhere, which are my two passions, right? Traveling and landscapes and florals and gardens. So we went to a community garden here, and there was just this flower bed that didn't have too many vegetables, but it had some asters and
just some beautiful things to paint, right?
Yeah. And it was like, okay, I love the color there. So that's what I try to put down on the canvas.
You captured your vision. You captured the part of it that you love. And I love that the way that you're teaching now has left you the space in the room to be able to have the time to go out and create and to paint and to be with your community in real time as well.
Correct, because if I want to create a good income from in-person teaching, which is 100% possible, it takes a lot of time, right? And you have to be there putting the hours in one-on-one with students. And that would take completely away from my own painting practice, which is what gives me a lot of joy. So that's why the online format, and it allows me to reach people in so many parts of the world.
It's beautiful, isn't it? It's beautiful. Well, Marcela, where can people find you online? What's your website?
So my website is marcelastrasdas.com. And do you want me to spell that? No.
Marcela has one L. And we will put the links in the show notes and in the description of the video for all of you so you can find her. Go look at her workshop, look at how it's structured, look how she offers it, take a look at her membership as well.
Yeah, and of course I am on Instagram and Facebook are my main two platforms. I have a tiny, tiny, tiny little presence on YouTube, and that's something that I plan to change. But again, cannot do everything at the same time, right? So one thing at a time. And if anybody has any questions about anything that we chatted about, I'm open to answer any questions and any way that I can.
Excellent. We'll put contact information in the notes as well.
From my website, people can find me there.
From the website. Yeah. Good. Well, again, I love you. Thank you for sharing everything with our people.
Thank you so much for having me. It has been a pleasure.
Hello, friend. So if you really liked what we talked about, these are exactly the kinds of things that we can help you with in the Academy for Virtual Teaching. We have a free membership of all kinds of creators who are learning to build online courses at academyforvirtualteaching.com. Sign up for our newsletter, see what's going on. But also, we have a video making crash course. If you want specific recommendations for the kinds of equipment that are specific to what you are teaching, the minimum, the easiest way to film online courses. We also have a 30-day program that is helping you set up all of the system before you build your class. It's testing your offer with live students. It's clarifying your messaging. It's getting your landing page built and bringing people in, paid beta students who will build the course with you, give you feedback as you go so that you never again spend all your time building a thing and then going, oh no, nobody is signing up. You prove your offer before you do it. Again, check us out, academyforvirtualteaching.com. We would love to have you join our community. Thank you, friends. Keep creating. Thank you so much for joining me on Creatives on Camera. I know there are countless podcasts out there, and I'm honored you spent your time here. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the next one, please subscribe to the podcast. Then, if you'd like to stay connected and get even more tips on teaching, marketing, and video creation, sign up for my email list at academyforvirtualteaching.com. You'll get exclusive insights and updates delivered straight to your inbox to help you grow your creative business with ease. Lastly, be sure to check the show notes below in the episode description for links to everything mentioned today. And I'll see you in the next episode.